Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shannan and I'm a liver transplant recipient. After what can only be described as a rollercoaster of a year, this summer I look forward to celebrating being 1 year post-transplant. A feeling I often found myself dreaming about on those challenging days when it felt like you were climbing a mountain with no end in sight. In my early teenage years, I was diagnosed with primary sclerosing cholangitis, a very rare liver condition that currently has no cure. I chose to remain positive and try to maintain a healthy lifestyle in order to avoid being listed for a liver transplant. I soon discovered that needing a transplant was not a choice or a result of a lifestyle choice, rather it was a symptom of my illness. At an already challenging age in an individual's life, navigating the reality of a lifelong liver condition in your early teenage years, adjusting to the aspect of having to take medication daily, and attending hospital for regular reviews was a very overwhelming reality you quickly had to acquaint yourself with. PSC came with its challenges, and dealing with the symptoms such as extreme fatigue and intermittent illness was not easy during the formative years of my life and years spent studying at university. I always tried to live as normal a life as possible and not let this illness define me. With many nights ending with me falling into bed exhausted, I powered through university and onto my professional studies at the Law Society of Ireland, where I have since qualified as a solicitor. COVID was a very challenging time in my life and indeed everyone's life. For me, this was a point in time when my symptoms began to worsen. My bloods began to fluctuate more often and I began experiencing symptoms such as severe abdominal pain, fever, pruritus and sometimes episodes of jaundice that usually resulted in hospital admission. Still remaining somewhat naive, I used to believe that these were merely just blips along the road and I'd be back on track in no time, not realising that this was the beginning of my liver coming under pressure. In 2024, following COVID-19 infection, my condition began to deteriorate rapidly. This time was very different. Unlike before, my symptoms were not settling. This was a very scary time. I went from attending clinic twice a year to weekly, and I knew this was without reason. We tried many different medications with little relief. Options were becoming smaller as time went on and my symptoms were amplifying. By late 2024, discussions around transplantation became a reality, and in January 2025, I was officially placed on the transplant list. A day I will never forget. That day, my parents, partner, and I walked out of the hospital in complete silence, concerned and worried about what lay ahead. The preceding months were exceptionally tough. At this stage, I was becoming weaker and weaker and spent most of the following months in hospital, with brief stays at home in between. That was a period that really tested my strength, both physically and mentally, a fight you never thought you'd be facing at 29 years of age. My family and partner were becoming increasingly worried and began to explore options such as potential living donation, which unfortunately is not available in Ireland and would have required travel to the UK. That a significant number of family and friends stepped forward offering to support me in as a living donor. As time went on, my symptoms were worsening and I knew that time was not on my side at the rate my symptoms were progressing, and watching my loved ones witness my rapid deterioration was not easy. However, my life changed last summer when I received a call to say that there may be a potential donor. I don't think anything will prepare you for that moment, your heart pounding, thinking of a family who at a time of grief were filled with such empathy and courage to selflessly think of another family and give the gift of life. I can still recall going to the hospital church and praying for my donor's peaceful transition. That feeling from that moment will never escape me. The weeks following surgery were challenging, but from the moment you wake up with a sense of fight within you, a fight for the second chance you have been given by your beautiful donor and their family. The difference after transplant has been night and day. I never truly realised how sick I was until I started to recover. I have been given the gift of life I never thought I would have. I think about my donor every day and carry them with me in everything I do. Because of their selfless act, I can now look forward to my future with optimism. There will never be enough words to thank my donor and her family for what they have done for me. I also pay tribute to the incredible medical team in St Vincent's University Hospital, who not only cared for me throughout my illness and transplant, but held my hand and walked alongside me throughout this difficult time in my life. They truly are earth angels. And to my beautiful parents, brothers, and partner Connor, who I've since gotten engaged to, and extended family, they were my rock and picked me up in those moments of weakness and encouraged me to keep up the fight and not let this illness define me. Deciding to share my story here today has not been easy. Being a private person, it is something I debated about, but I stand here today and share my journey as a tribute to my beautiful donor, who selflessly brought light back into my life at a time I felt the light was beginning to fade. I share my journey for those who sit eagerly waiting for that miracle call, and I share my journey in hope that my story may resonate with others and encourage them to become an organ donor. Organ donation restores hope in families. It gives people a second chance at life after silently battling a condition for many years. And it joins two families together, a bond unique and unlike any other, where two individuals navigate life as one whole. This coming week, I'm urging everyone to take a moment and think about becoming an organ donor. Please speak with your loved ones and don't leave them in doubt. Share your wishes around organ donation. Your decision could change someone's life just like it did for me. Thank you.